This is Thailand's answer to Disneyland.
Welcome to the happiest place in the land of smiles. Southeast Asia doesn't have its own official mouse house, but to the north of Bangkok, not too far from Don Muang Airport, you will find Thailand's version of the Magic Kingdom. A place with colourful parades, pulse-pounding thrill rides, surprising stunt shows, and even a full-on winter wonderland. There's more than just a few surprises beyond these colourful gates. So join us.
Whoa, that was a good one.
As we rate every single ride at the happiest place in Thailand.
Hello and welcome back to another day in Thailand, where you join me from the entrance of Dreamworld, which is one of the most famous theme parks in the whole country. We've already paid for entry, so I've got this wristband which costs 1,000 baht, and that's going to give us access to all of the rides here. There is one cheaper option which gets you onto less of them, but we want to have the full experience, so let's go and see what this place has to offer.
From the entrance, you walk into the first themed area of the park, which is essentially Dreamworld's version of Main Street USA, aka Dreamworld Plaza. It's much smaller and quieter than the Disney equivalent, and there weren't many shops open when we arrived. Studying the map here, you'll see that the Dreamworld Park is one long plot. So we wanted to start our day near the bigger rides at the far end of it. And what better way to get over there than on a classic gondola ride, which gave us our first preview of what Dreamworld has to offer.
Whoa. Here we go. We are kicking things off with a ride on the cable car, which just gave us an amazing view over the whole park and the lake. But now let's go and get on one of the big roller coasters, because we're here quite early and we need to make the most of that.
The cable car landed into the Adventureland section of the park, the largest area, home to the biggest and most pulse-pounding thrill rides. So to kick things off, we headed straight towards the biggest of the lot, in the shape of the towering SkyCoaster. This was actually one of the first leg-dangling rides in the whole of Asia, and a firm favourite for any visiting adrenaline junkies.
Well, there we have it. That's the first ride in the bag, and it's a pretty good one. I think this is one of the bigger roller coasters in the park, but there's still no loops or anything because essentially this is for kids. But do you know what? SkyCoaster, pretty good. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Now, on to the next one.
Which was the Black Hole Coaster, Dreamworld's version of Space Mountain. Much like the American equivalent, it's an indoor dark ride that's meant to feel like you're flying into outer space. So as a result, the footage I got on my terrible GoPro knockoff doesn't look much better than this part on the way up, but you can judge my reaction to the whole thing from the audio. The Black Hole Coaster gets a solid 3 out of 5. Back on planet Earth, we headed over to the Viking, a classic swinging banana boat ride with a very loud soundtrack. Now, I think we probably underestimated this one because I remember it looking pretty tame from ground level, but that assessment was very wrong.
Okay.
We confidently took the back seats and it started off gentle enough, but it quickly got much more intense.
Literally coming off my feet. Well, that was actually mental. I was expecting just like a normal banana boat, but that really went way up there. I was actually coming off my seat at points. So, for motion sickness, it's probably a 5 out of 5. But for an actual ride, let's give it a 4.
We then followed the screams over to Adventureland's spookiest attraction.
Well, if the Black Hole Coaster was a bit like Space Mountain, then Disney fans might also recognise parts of this ride.
The Haunted Mansion might have looked familiar from the outside, but once again, I was a bit too quick to judge. It was actually a walkthrough experience, almost like they made a whole ride out of the Disney Haunted Mansion queue.
There's no way I'd be going here as a kid. Well, I was actually completely wrong about that. It's actually a walkthrough attraction. And you know what? It's actually pretty scary. We were at the front of the group, so every turn was pitch black, and we're looking around the corner to see if anything was going to jump out. But do you know what? Quite scary. 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it.
Back in the daylight, this colourful fella tried to lighten the mood.
Whoa.
And we headed across to one of Adventureland's more tame offerings, which was a unique spin on an old classic. You've probably all heard of bumper cars, but what about bumper boats?
So this is Bump Boat, which is like bumper cars, but on water. Which is probably a lot more fun when there's more people here, but she got me.
This was actually quite relaxing in the end.
Oh, that was a good one.
And we got some great views of the SkyCoaster from the water. So this gets a respectable 3 out of 5. But it did keep our delicate British skin out in that baking hot sun. So luckily, the next ride would very much cool us down. Super Splash is the park's only log flume water ride, the perfect antidote to the Bangkok summer heat. You can put anything you want to keep dry in a handy locker, and then get ready for the drop. You get some pretty nice views on the way up, but it's all downhill from there. Yep, it's a wet one.
Oh, well, for pure refreshment on a hot day, that gets 5 out of 5. Loved it. It's time for the
Monorail, monorail, monorail.
We first saw this ride from the climb up on Super Splash, and it looked like a decent way to dry off for a few minutes. Once again, it reminded me of Disneyland in Florida, which has a pretty similar ride, letting you look over different sections of the park. The monorail was nice for a quick break, so it gets a 2.5 out of 5. But we didn't get to keep dry for long, because next up was one of Dreamworld's best loved attractions, and another great way to escape the tropical climate.
Right then, I think it's time to ride the wave, literally, of the water rides and get on the rapids at the Grand Canyon.
The whole Grand Canyon section has some of the best theming in the park, and the ride itself comes with a very clear warning. This one was gonna get wet. As there was only 2 of us, we shared a boat with another family who looked much better prepared than us in their ponchos. But honestly, there was no way that anyone was getting out of this one as dry as they entered.
Oh my god, that was even wetter than the last one. I think I sat in the worst possible seat. I got absolutely drenched, and I remembered that I had my phone and my wallet in my pocket as well, so I'm gonna have to look at those in a second, but that was really good fun. The only criticism is that it could have been even longer. I loved it. That's a good 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. Thumbs up to the Grand Canyon. Again, water rides really are the one in Thailand on such a hot day. I want to go around again.
And luckily, the Thai sun dries things off very quickly.
I think we're good.
Before we stopped for lunch, I decided to get one last big ride out of the way.
This is Tornado, one of the bigger rides in the park, and I've actually just seen the staff cleaning up some sick from the previous ride, so I think that tells you everything you need to know.
Much like the Viking, this is another ride that wouldn't look too out of place at a fun fair in the UK. And once again, it ended up being pretty intense.
How was that?
That was mental. Unlike the rapids, which I thought could have gone on forever, that one, I couldn't wait to be done, but it was still quite fun. It really goes so high up there and you really feel the G-force and your face starts rippling, but whew, that's not for the faint of heart.
The Tornado gets a 3 out of 5 from me. Adventureland is also home to the main food pavilion. Now, I'm used to getting ripped off for food at UK theme parks, but in true Thailand style, the food options at Dreamworld are affordable and plenty. You can find lots of different types of snacks and drinks for as little as 25 baht, from dumplings to cold cola slush. And the snacks also come in all sorts of cute shapes and sizes. With our snacks in hand, we then went to check out the Hollywood Stunt Show, which has a bit more of a Universal Studios vibe. There's normally just one performance per day at 1 PM, and I didn't actually expect too much from the show itself, but it ended up having some really cool moments. It had cars, zip lines, this water tower explosion, this fireball explosion, and there was even a finale set piece involving a plane. And some more explosions. It's definitely worth checking out if you want to sit down for a while in the shade. The stunt show gets a 3.5. Now, the water rides are obviously very refreshing in the Thailand heat, but if there's one attraction that you have to visit in this whole park, it's where we're heading next.
We are now outside the entrance to Snowtown, which is one of the most popular premium attractions in the park, and it's a whole indoor area that's kept at -5 degrees, so let's go and check it out.
We could visit Snowtown as many times as we wanted with our 1,000 baht ticket, but the cheaper options sometimes don't include entry to this specific experience, so look out for that. Before you get inside the main area, there's quite a bit of preparation to get you ready.
So, they give you some boots and a jacket before you go inside. And socks if you need them. Let's do it.
And this is an experience quite unlike anything I've ever seen before that will definitely cool you down.
Wow. Okay, that's cold. Wow. Well, this is the most surreal thing so far. Look at this! Playing Christmas music and everything. Well, this is definitely snow. Oh, freezing.
When it was installed in 1997, Snowtown was the first of its kind in the whole of Asia. But it's also not just a place for cool photos. There's also a very appropriate ride in here as well. You just grab yourself an inflatable from the bottom of the hill and head up to the slide.
I bet you didn't think you'd be doing this in Thailand. Ready?
It was so good that we actually went for another round.
Ready?
For me, Snowtown was a 5 out of 5 unique experience, and it's quite an adjustment to get back to the tropics afterwards.
Oh, the camera's fogging up.
With Snowtown done, it was finally time to leave Adventureland and head to the fairy tale themed Fantasyland, where most of the proper Disneyland vibes can be found.
And there it is, Thailand's version of the Disneyland castle. Much smaller, but hey, it's not bad. I don't know if you'll see it on my camera, but you can actually see Sleeping Beauty in there as well.
This area is much less about rides and more about walkthrough experiences and photo opportunities. And you'll find the Disney-style castle right alongside some other recognisable scenes.
Mr. Frodo? Well, we've taken a wrong turn and ended up in Middle-earth. Look, it's the Shire. This is an area called Photopia, which, as its name suggests, where you come to get some pretty cool photos for your Instagram. So let's go and do it.
There are a lot of Mouse House-esque spots around here, which are really good fun. But it got so uncanny at points that it makes you wonder how they're getting away with it.
If any Disney lawyers are watching, this is definitely not Cars. Nothing like it. No. Completely different.
And it wasn't just Disney characters either.
No, I know what you're thinking. You think this is a Minion, but no, it's nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with them. DreamWorks, if you're watching, this is completely different. This is green, so not the same. Nothing to see here.
This area is really good fun. Again, I think kids would probably enjoy it the most, so Photopia gets a 3 out of 5. We then stopped by this very unique hand gel dispenser before we headed to one of the indoor attractions at the Giant House. This is another photo spot, but I thought it was really well done. You really get the feeling that you're creeping around a sleeping giant's abode. It gets a 3 out of 5 because the theming is pretty cool. But we also arrived in Fantasyland at just the right time for the main event.
Here we go. It's parade time.
The Colours of the World parade was pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Floats and performers with different themings from around the world. There's also some other Dreamworld characters in there as well. There's one performance per day at 3 PM and there's loads of different places where you can stand and watch the performers walk by. It's really worth checking out. So the parade gets a 4 out of 5.
Another photo-taking attraction here is this, the Wonders of the World. So as you can see, it's lots of famous buildings and monuments in miniature form. And it actually kind of reminds me of a theme park that I used to work at in my teenage years. I won't say the name of it, but let's just say it took a lot of bricks to build it. If you know, you know. But look, as you can see, we've got the Taj Mahal here, we've got the Eiffel Tower, and we've even got a bit of England. There's Stonehenge over in that corner. What they don't have here is the motorway running alongside it.
The Seven Wonders was a nice enough stop, but nothing amazing, so it gets a 2. And after that, our day at the World of Dreams came to a close, with Snowtown and the water rides taking my highest ratings. Next time, we head back up to the north of the country, exploring the cost of living in Thailand's most livable city.